Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 16th annual Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And I'll say welcome back since last year. Like a lot of things, we had to skip, unfortunately, due to COVID. So some of you, it's good to see you again, and some of the new faces, we're glad you're here. It's an exciting time for all involved, getting to this night for the tremendous Florence athletes, past, present, and future, that will benefit from this appreciation. We're extremely proud of Florence's athletic heritage and to all of our hometown heroes who have entertained and inspired us over the long and illustrious career of their sport. Tonight, we're fortunate to have the opportunity to introduce to you 6 of those outstanding people who have earned the distinction of the class of 2022. I'm Derek Urquhart, President of the Hall of Fame, and I would like to recognize the dedicated Hall of Fame Board of Directors who volunteered numerous hours to get to this night. Vice President Melissa Gerald, Secretary Missy Burgess Planter, Treasurer Sean Ellerby, Gerald Holly, Bobby Montrose, Rocky Rykovich, Charles Nelson, Robbie Bridgers, Mark Wade, and Carlos Washington. Thank you very much. And I'll add that again, due to COVID, this committee has actually been working 2 years straight. So it wasn't last year during COVID. We still continue to meet. We still continue to plan. So this banquet that we're able to get together again is 2 years in the making. So again, thank you for 2 years of service, not just one. Please note that in your program, unfortunately, we lost 2 of our past board members, and we want to recognize those with Ronnie Anderson and Jimmy Johnson, and they're in your program, and we thank them for their past years on the board. Unfortunately, we lost them this past year. At this time, I also want to recognize any members of the city and county councils, the School District 1 Board, and the Florence Civic Center Commission. If any of you are here, please stand to be recognized. I know, unfortunately, we had some not able to turn out. All right, thank you very much. None of this would be possible without our sponsors. You'll see them listed in your program and as well as hanging over my shoulders here. But we especially want to recognize our title sponsor, Chick-fil-A. Thank you guys for your continued loyal support. They've been with us since day one in 2006 from our first class. And again, this is the Chick-fil-A Florence Athletics Hall of Fame. Thank you to you guys and to all of our sponsors. At this time, I want to introduce our MC this evening, Bob Wilson. Coach Wilson returns for his 5th year as our MC. Bob is a retired teacher, coach, and athletic director at all 3 Florence District 1 high schools, as well as coaching at Francis Marion. At West Florence, Bob served as an assistant coach for the 1986 4A state champions, was the head coach for the 1998 Knights, who finished the season ranked number 4 in 4A. At Wilson, he guided the Tigers to a 76-31 mark and won the 2007 3A state title, their first in history for basketball. A Kentucky native, Coach Wilson was a standout at Francis Marion. Following his playing career there, he was named to the Francis Marion All-Decade Team for the 1970s, was selected to the Patriots Hall of Fame in 2011. He later returned to his alma mater as an assistant coach on the staff of Coach Lewis Hill. Please join me in welcoming back Coach Bob Wilson.
Thank you, Derek. And the first comment I'll make is, wow, 1970 seems like a long time ago now. It didn't used to seem so long ago. But welcome. It's great to be back here after not being here in 2021. And just to echo some of the things that Derek has mentioned, first of all, I would like to thank the Board of Directors for the Chick-fil-A Florence Hall of Fame. Their tireless work helps to preserve the history of Florence. It's my feeling that athletics are an integral part of any community, and the fact that we do have a Hall of Fame that recognizes these worthy inductees is a manner of keeping history of Florence alive, and I think that's very important. History has to be kept alive in the present. You can't wait until sometime in the future to make sure it's done. So again, I would like to thank the board for that. I look forward to this evening every year for a variety of reasons, one of which is having spent a number of years in athletics here in Florence, inevitably with the inductees, There are people I played with or played against or coached with or coached against or coached or worked with, and some that I count among personal friends. And tonight's inductees are no different, and it's very special for me to be part of that. Also, I think one of the things I find most enjoyable about this evening is the comments of the inductees. You know, we live in an age where athletics tends to be focused sometimes on Facebook likes or Twitter followers or retweets and sort of superficial kind of things. But when the inductees speak, inevitably they speak about things with much more substance. Their experiences and their relationships in athletics. Now, the experiences could be those things that we saw, you know, the game-winning hit or the long touchdown run. Or they can be more private. The first time the young person puts on their school uniform, the first time they go to a ball game, or the time they understand what the coach is trying to tell them, and it just seems to click for them. Those are the experiences we don't see that very often our inductees speak of. The relationships can be varied as well. The relationships would include, you know, coaches and teammates, but very often we hear of the relationship of a parent, a sibling, or some mentor that has introduced them to their sport and shared their time to help them develop those skills. And for all of those reasons, I truly enjoy coming here every year. We have a great program for you this evening, and I really hope we appreciate the fact that we are going to be able to be here this year, and that we can help these inductees celebrate, you know, their deserved induction into the Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame. We have a couple of special presentations before we get the program started. The first is our Citation Award. The Citation Award is given to an individual, team, club, association, school, or commercial institution who has significantly contributed to the promotion of Florence athletics. Citations shall be made in recognition of an outstanding achievement or service which has made a lasting impression on the image of Florence and its athletes. Our Citation Award winner for 2022 is Larry Rizzo. Larry graduated from Presbyterian College, where he played tennis as a senior. He's been one of the driving forces between the success and producing of top tennis players in the Florence community. Larry has influenced the growth of tennis in Florence for more than 2 decades through the organization of youth tournaments which attract players from across the United States. Larry has served as the head tennis pro at the Florence Country Club for 22 years, and over 40 former students have received tennis scholarships. He is a USTA adult 5-time singles state champion, 6 times doubles champion, and 2 times Southern doubles champion. He was selected twice as the South Carolina Tennis Pro of the Year, and in 2007 was inducted into the South Carolina Tennis Hall of Fame. During his career, 15 of his students have won USTA state singles titles, and 5 have won individual high school state titles. The Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame proudly recognizes Larry Rizzo with their 2022 Citation Award. This year we had 2 state championship teams, both from the sport of baseball. The Florence Post 1 Legion team and the West Florence Junior Legion team both won their respective state titles. The West Florence Junior team finished with a 19-3 overall record, beating Fort Mill in the final. This is the 8th Junior Legion title for a Florence team, but the first as West Florence. Coaches, please stand when your name is called. Head coach Craig Brown, assistants Jody Harvin, Joe Eaddy, and Trip Kelly. The Florence Post 1 senior team won their 5th title in 9 years, finishing with a 34-5 record. They advanced to their 4th Southeast Regional Final, losing to Mississippi in the championship game. Florence has won 12 straight league titles and has played in 8 of the last 9 championship games. Coaches, when your name is called, please stand. Head coach, Derek Urquhart. Assistants, Rhodes Dickerson, Zach McKay, Zay Paul, Adam Fedewa, and athletic officer Mike Ritchie. Our featured speaker this evening is a name familiar to Gamecock and NFL fans, Patrick DiMarco. Patrick was a 4-year letterman under Coach Steve Spurrier and 2-year captain at the University of South Carolina, where he received his bachelor's degrees in both marketing and management from the Darla-Moore School of Business. During his distinguished NFL career, Patrick received the Atlanta Falcons Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, the NFL Players Association Byron Wizard White Award, was selected to the NFL Pro Bowl, and was named First Team All-Pro. In 2016, DiMarco and the Atlanta Falcons won the NFC Championship and played in the first Super Bowl in Atlanta Falcons franchise history. That same year, he was named the Atlanta Falcons Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award recipient. For 7 years during his time with the Falcons and later the Buffalo Bills, Patrick served as the NFL Players Association players representative for those respective teams. For his contributions to the Falcons, Patrick was named to the Atlanta Falcons All-Decade Team for the years 2010 through 2020. He retired in February of 2021 after a 10-year NFL playing career and joined Shane Beamer's staff at the University of South Carolina as football analyst and assistant director of player relations. During his free time, Patrick enjoys family time with his wife, Kirsten, and their 3 children, Weston, Sutton, and Collins. Ladies and gentlemen, Patrick DiMarco.
First off, thanks for having me here tonight. This is an honor being back here in the state of South Carolina. I've been gone for a long time since my playing days here at South Carolina, so it's glad to be back. Congratulations to all you inductees. This is a very special time. My uncle down back in Orlando, Florida, was just inducted into our high school Hall of Fame, and my uncle keeps telling me my day's going to come, but we'll see. So congratulations. As it was just said, I just joined staff back here at the University of South Carolina as a football analyst and assistant director of player relations, working with the offensive staff, the special teams, and also with Connor Shaw and Derek Moore, kind of in the player development role. So I was just going to kind of talk about my football story and my journey with you guys. And I mean, you kind of spoken a lot about it all, but I'll kind of go into a little more detail. But growing up, I played all sports. Favorite sport probably growing up was basketball, but I played basketball, baseball, and football. And I remember when I was in 2nd grade going out to my first ever football practice, they were playing like a game where everybody's just throwing the ball and tackling each other. And I was the younger kid, the older kids were 4th grade, and I was 2nd grade, and I just, ran right along. And I remember my dad called me back there because he was coaching, and he goes, "Pat, come here." And so I walked back, and I was like, "What's up, Dad?" And he goes, "Pat, I don't want you to be like all the rest of the kids. Don't be a follower. I want you to be a leader." And that's something that's really stuck with me my whole life, my whole career. Then going up until high school, I grew up in Orlando, Florida, where I went to Lake Brantley High School, where we were kind of just a subpar team the years before I got there, and even the first couple years that I was there. And I remember meeting with my defensive coordinator and head coach going into my junior year, and they kind of reemphasized, like, "Hey, Pat, it's time for you to get out of your comfort zone. Time for you to really take on a leadership role and lead these guys." I just had like a like a flashback of my dad grabbing me and telling me the same thing. So we went on and we played in the first ever school state championship my senior year. But going through that time, through the recruiting process in high school, and this kind of goes all throughout my football career, I was a two-star prospect. So I was very low-level recruited. I was recruited by most of the smaller schools in the state of Florida. But I mean, my biggest offer before I got offered from South Carolina was Northwestern University. So I was always kind of under the radar, and I had a chip on my shoulder. Thankfully, my uncle is Chris DiMarco, who played on the PGA Tour, and Steve Spurrier knew him, and that was kind of my opportunity here. And I told myself, like, well, I'll go into the story on when Coach Spurrier offered me a scholarship because it's kind of funny. So I was driving to an All-Star game with my dad, and Coach Spurrier called me, and I answered the phone, and I was talking to him, and he was like, I just want to let you know, like, you have a scholarship offer here to the University of South Carolina. And, you know, I was a 17-year-old egotistical kid who was like, all right, Coach, well, I'm gonna think about this, and I'll get back to you after I make my decision. I had like 2 or 3 other scholarship offers, so I wasn't really had much to think about. So I hung up the phone, and my dad's like, who was that? And I was like, oh, that was Coach Spurrier, and Coach Spurrier just offered me a scholarship. And my dad looked at me, and he looked at me again, and he goes, and you told him you were going to think about it? You better call that man back. So I called him back, and I was like, hey, Coach, last couple of minutes I thought really long and hard about this, and I'm coming. Coming here as a 2-star prospect in that 2007 recruiting class, I was the lowest rated recruit on the team, and I got here, and so I worked with the trainer and everything. So I kind of told myself, like, I'm not going to view myself as the lowest recruit. I'm going to view myself like I'm supposed to be here, like I proved that I had a reason to be here. And I kind of had that chip on my shoulder. The first first summer workouts, we were running 110s, and I'm not the fastest guy in the world, but I told myself, we ran 2110s the very first day, and I told myself, I'm gonna win all these. I didn't win all of them, but I won several of them. And I remember towards the end, some of the seniors were like, hey, freshman, you better chill out. You're starting to make us look bad. So I always had that chip on my shoulder going through the whole time. But, you know, I was the first person in that freshman class to score a touchdown at South Carolina. And then I ended up, through that whole time, I set the school record for games played in for a mere 2-star prospect at the University of South Carolina. But that all goes back to just having kind of a chip on my shoulder and always wanting to prove people wrong. And that leads me right into my NFL story. I was an undrafted free agent in 2011. That was the lockout year in the NFL where we went through. I didn't get invited to the combine, so I did just the pro day, and I finished up and I got my degree during that. But I remember when I got the call or after the draft, my phone was just as quiet as can be. But so with the lockout, it was silence for like 3 months. So I didn't get called until, July, right before training camp, that the San Diego Chargers wanted to sign me. And I remember that was just like the pinnacle for me, an opportunity to go play in the NFL. As a young kid, I wanted to be Mike Allstott. And sure enough, 10 years later, I was a Mike Allstott. Didn't get the ball as much as Mike Allstott did, but I was able to play in the NFL, which was just an incredible story. But I mean, my NFL career, I played for 10 years, but the first 3 or 4 years of my career, of the 53 guys on the roster, I was probably 51, 52, or 53. I was at the dispense of making an error, and I was probably out of there. So I made sure I wasn't going to let that opportunity pass me by. So I just recently retired this past February. I hurt my neck during training camp of the 2020 season, and had a couple hard talks with some doctors, and they told me, like, you got young kids, it'd be better off if you hung them up, which was hard from a guy who played football for so long, and the transition of going from playing football and being at the kind of the pinnacle to dropping down. But thankfully, Coach Behr, just from our relationship of when I played here and he was a coach here, he made that transition pretty easy because he called me and offered me a job to come back here and coach. So, but my role here at South Carolina now is I work with the running backs and tight ends, kind of more. That's more the coaching side, but I'm also given an opportunity to work in the player development side. And I was given the chance to talk to the team every week before games. And it's going to be kind of an exercise I was going to do with you guys. My time with them was called the winning edge. And of all you guys, or guys and gals as athletes here, like I hope you guys will enjoy this. But this is just some stuff that I gave to the guys. And every week I was given about 10 or 15 minutes to go up and talk to the guys. In the first week, I talked about how winning is an all-the-time thing. And this just goes from you don't win games with our games. You don't win games on Saturdays. You win games Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And that's from getting in the building on time. That's from working your tail off in the weight room. That's from doing your nutritional stuff right. So all the way through, we just wanted to preach to these guys that you win the inside drill in practice. You win the meeting time. You win all this, which they were very receptive to. The next thing I talked about was trusting your training. Like we go through winter workouts, we go through spring ball, we go through summer workouts, we go through fall camp leading into practice, and every day we have 25 minutes of individual period, and we do all this work. And when stuff gets really hard out there on the practice field, or on the game field on Saturdays, like what are you going to revert to? You need to revert back to your training. You need to revert back to those individual periods, all the hard work of individual that we put in when stuff gets really hard. The next thing was like an exercise that we did when I was in Atlanta, which really helped me, was visualization. And this was, we used to do an exercise where you'd sit there and you'd close your eyes and think about like a play that basically you vision yourself succeeding before it actually happens. So I had the guys walk through like a 3rd and 7, and you're the ex receiver. I was like, all right, we're running this concept. You need to see yourself going up and making that play across the middle, catching it for 12-yard gains and converting before it even happens. When you see yourself in your mind doing it before it happens, it'll come to life a lot easier. And then we talked about what is your why. Like I gave them my example. This was an exercise we did when I was with the Buffalo Bills. You went up in front of the team and you explained why you played football. Like what was the driving purpose behind you? And mine was my family, and especially my 5-year-old son. I want to show him what hard work, dedication, and passion to something really look like. And growing up, I had a great father figure in my father, and I want to be the same to him. Next thing we talked about was perception and all the outside noise that comes with college football and being the SEC. At South Carolina last year, we were supposed to win, or we were told that we were going to win 3 football games last year. If we listened to the outside noise, we probably would have won 3 football games last year. So we made our reality, and we didn't let other people contradict and tell us what we were going to do. And then, so Coach Behr has a kind of a blueprint of how we win football games, and I challenged the guys to take ownership of it. So every week I would call out one guy and ask them to explain how we win football games. And this was something the first week where it was like just crickets up there. I said, I want you to tell us how we win football games, and it was like nothing. Second week, guys were able to get 1 or 2 of them, but it ended up being, going into the Clemson week, I called out guys, and the way we win football games is we run the ball and stop the run. We win the explosive play battle. We win the turnover battle. We dominate the fourth quarter, and we play smart football. And by the bowl game, there were 10 guys jumping up, waiting to bark at the bit to tell us how we win football games. And then the next one I talked about was having a winning mentality, and that was kind of in the middle of the season when we were having a little rut. We were struggling there for a little bit, and I just told the guys, like, look, you don't play for the name on the back of your jersey, you play for the name on the name on the front of your jersey. And selling out for your teammates and playing as hard as you can for 60 minutes for the guy to your left and to your right. The next one was about about being unmesswithable, which was a term that was used when I was with the Atlanta Falcons, and it's just about being unfazed by any circumstance. And in football, there's going to be good, bad, and ugly throughout every game, and it's about not being fazed by that and being able to hone in and be your true self and go out there and attack the next play regardless of what happened the previous plays. The next thing was an exercise that my running backs coach with the Atlanta Falcons, Bobby Turner, went through, and he simplified, and this is something I'm going to carry on with my coaching career as far as it goes, but there's 5 A's to playing football. And the first one is your alignment. You have to have ownership of your alignment because that's just the starting point of the game. The next thing is your assignment. What are you supposed to do on that play? The next thing would be the adjustments that are going to happen during that play. And then the next thing is taking great angles. Football is all about angles. Where am I supposed to go? Where's other guys supposed to go? I'm going to meet them on that trajectory. And the next thing is just having a bad attitude. When you play the game of football, it's not a soft sport. You got to buckle your chin strap, put your mouthpiece in, and go in there and road grave. And then the next thing is that I talked to the guys about was that the hay is never in the barn. There's always work to be done. And this went up until the meetings I generally had with the guys was on Friday night. And I told them, what are you going to do over the next 12 hours to make sure we win this football game? Are you going to watch extra tape? Are you going to flip through your notes? Are you going to review your tips and reminders? The best thing you can do is get 8 hours of sleep. Go to bed. Get off your phone at night. And then I talked to the guys just about gratitude and being grateful. And I went into that I was just grateful for Coach Behr giving me the chance to be back at the University of South Carolina. That meant so much to me. And the next one was pretty easy. We were playing Clemson, and I said, what else do I got to say, boys? If you can't get up for this game, you can't get up for any game. So, I mean, just the excitement of being back here in the state of South Carolina, working with Coach Behr at my alma mater, it's been, I mean, honestly, it's been a dream come true. And I'm thrilled to be back here. The vibe around the building has been so positive. Coach Behr is bringing a culture that's about love, and our big phrase is above all else, love your brother. And I think it's so true, and not just football, but all sports. You got to play for your teammates, and you got to love what you're doing. The game and the competition is so hard. If you don't have that deep fire inside of you that's driving you, like, you're probably not going to have success. I was going to open it up to any questions if anybody had anything they wanted to talk about or questions they had for me about my football playing career, what it's like being back in South Carolina now. So I'll open the floor if anybody has anything. All right, well, congratulations again to all you inductees, and thank you for having me here tonight. This is such a special occasion, and another congratulations.
Thank you, Patrick, for taking time to come out here this evening. As we were speaking before the program started, this was a work day for him today. They had prospects on campus, and of course, the key to sustaining success is getting the right players at the right place. And so this was a work day for him, and he made a special effort to come out here this evening. We greatly appreciate that. Now, Florence 1 School Board Chair Porter Stewart will deliver our invocation.
And it is indeed good to be back this year, having missed last year. I believe I've had the honor to have participated in all of these events. So this would be number 16, although this is the 17th year. And it's really special because actually this is one of the better meals I get all year at this banquet. So I'm especially grateful to be here. As I was looking at the program and leading into the invocation, and for that moment of reflection, I was looking at the principles by which the Athletic Hall of Fame was established. And in the program, what caught my eye are the last two bullets, and I'm going to read those. The purpose is to emphasize, encourage, and promote athletic participation on a high plane of sportsmanship under competent leadership and in a healthful and wholesome environment. And then also to service sports at all levels and thereby help individuals develop the strong character, personality, attitude, and stamina to become good citizens. And so what that brought to my mind was, at this season in my life, and as you can imagine looking at me standing here, I've had a few seasons prior to my arrival here tonight. And I'll have to confess, it's disappointing to me personally in the nation at this time to witness the lack of civil discourse, the lack of good manners, the lack of putting into perspective these very principles that we teach young people in sport. And I only pray that we could restore that civic lifestyle whereby we don't all have to be on the same team, but we certainly can enjoy the same principles, and we can live by those principles and honor the competition of ideas, the competition, whether it be political or business or sport, but realize in perspective that we're all placed in this world with talents to do good works, and not just for ourselves, not self-serving, but for others. And I hope that we can recall on those lessons that were taught, those lessons that were exemplified by those whom we honor tonight, and in so honoring them, remind ourselves to go forth and do likewise. So with that said, if you'll join me in prayer. Our Father in heaven, we do thank you for this occasion to be here once more tonight. We thank you for those who have worked hard to reestablish the banquet and the honoring of individuals through this organization. We pray for these individuals. We pray for their families. We pray for those who guided and led them to success. And we pray also that those lessons learned will be guiding lights, have been, are, and will be in their lives, and that we also, in pausing to honor that, will be inspired likewise to go forth and live by those principles. Now we ask that you would bless this food, our nourishment, us to your service, and as always, it's in Christ's name that I pray. Amen.
Please continue enjoying your meal as we resume this evening's program. The first thing we'd like to do is to recognize past inductees to the Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame. The way we're going to do it is by class, so when I call the year that you were inducted, please stand, or if you're here representing someone who was inducted in that year, please stand, and please hold your applause till the end of our presentation. Past inductees from the class of 2006, please stand. 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. How about a nice hand for all of our former inductees to the Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame. As we begin our induction ceremonies, once again, what a great honor it is for us to share in the celebration of these people who've made lasting contributions to athletics here in Florence, South Carolina. The way our presentation is going to work, we're going to call the sponsor up first, and then we will call the inductee. So will Mark Drummond of Chick-fil-A please come to the stage? Our first inductee this evening into the 2022 Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame is Stephen Craig Behr. The ability to focus on the task at hand is a trait that can certainly lead to success, but the ability to shift focus and refocus as the situation changes can allow one to be successful in multiple endeavors. This is certainly the case with Stephen Behr, enjoying great success athletically and academically. At West Florence High School, Stephen was an outstanding tennis player as well as golfer. In tennis, Stephen played #1 singles and doubles as a senior as West Florence won its 10th consecutive region title. While starring on the tennis court, Stephen also had even greater success on the golf course, finishing 4th in the state in the 9th grade before becoming state 4A champion as a junior and state 4A runner-up as a senior. Stephen continued his golf career at Clemson, where he was named team MVP as a freshman and sophomore, and academic All-American his junior and senior years. Stephen's senior year at Clemson were filled with many honors, including being named third-team All-American, ACC Scholar Athlete of the Year, the Clemson Solid Orange Male Athlete of the Year, as well as being the recipient of the prestigious Byron Nelson Award. Ladies and gentlemen, 2022 Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, Stephen Craig Behr.
Thanks, everyone. It's great to be here tonight. Thanks for everyone for coming out. I was telling earlier, my parents moved here when I was 3 years old, so 25 years ago now. And to be raised in this city, Florence, means a lot to me, and to be inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame now is a huge honor, something that I can take with me for the rest of my life. I need to thank a lot of people. There's been a lot of people that have helped me and support me throughout the years. First and foremost, my parents who are here tonight. Mom and Dad, thanks so much for everything you've done for me. I know you've made a lot of sacrifices and dedicated a lot of your time and lives to take me to all the tennis tournaments and golf tournaments. We've had a lot of fun over the years. My wife, Libby, we just got married in December, so Libby, thanks for keeping life fun, and thanks for letting me take the time to spend the time I need to pursue some of the golf goals I have. I know golf rounds are not always the quickest thing to do on a Saturday, so thank you for supporting me on that. And Julie, my sister, is also here tonight. Thank you, Julie. I don't tell you enough how much I appreciate your support, whether it's going to the U.S. Amateur out at Pebble Beach, or when I was doing junior soccer when I was 5 years old for the Purple Cobras, and you had the dry erase board with the home video camera. You've been there with me, one of my top supporters all these years, so thank you, Julie. All of my teammates, coaches, teachers, I know my dad's been my golf coach my whole life. Coach Nelson, there he is, my tennis coach at West Florence. Larry Rizzo was my longtime tennis coach growing up, so it's fun to see all of these coaches and people that have been so important to me. I wouldn't be here today without them. So I mentioned my teammates, like the speaker, DiMarco, said earlier, the teammates are what really, the camaraderie of working for your team, and at Clemson, working together and pushing each other to become the best we could be, wouldn't be here without them. the Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you, Missy and Derek and everyone else on the board. It's been an awesome experience, and throwing together this ceremony. It's special for me to be back in Florence, and to the rest of the inductees. It's pretty cool to be part of this group, and I'm just so fortunate to be here with you guys and share this night with you and represent the city in a great way. So, thanks everyone.
Will Chris Timmons of Chick-fil-A please come to the stage? Our next inductee is Jennifer Raye Eaddy. When an outstanding athlete demonstrates commitment and dedication to their sport and their teammates, it can set the tone for the success of the team. Such was the case with Jennifer Eaddy. Jennifer was a three-sport star at Florence Christian High School in volleyball, basketball, and softball. In basketball, Jennifer was a three-time SCISA All-Star, setting program records for points, rebounds, and blocked shots. A volleyball standout as well, Jennifer was a three-year All-Star and led Florence Christian to back-to-back SCISA 3A state championships. Upon graduation, Jennifer played basketball at Liberty University 2 years before concluding her collegiate career at Bluefield College, where she led the nation in blocked shots as a junior and senior and was named All-Conference. Ladies and gentlemen, 2022 Florence Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, Jennifer Raye Eaddy.
Unlike Stephen, I'm going to have to read mine. Y'all, this is really an honor. I just want to thank everybody that put this together, and I'm just honored to be here. And to be included in the Hall of Fame with all these amazing athletes and the coaches from today and from the past. I have been so blessed in my life. God gave me amazing parents and family that have always supported me. My parents sacrificed to send me to Florence Christian School, where I received a solid, God-centered education and athletic career. My coach, Ginger Sweat, she couldn't be here tonight, but I couldn't have asked for a better Christian example. She coached me in all three sports from 7th to 12th grade. When I graduated, she handed me a VHS tape with highlights and bloopers, a blooper reel of my career, and it was all set to music. Now today, y'all know that wouldn't be that big of a deal, but back then, editing with a VHS player, that could have taken her forever. That meant so much, and I'm truly thankful for her nominating me and for being such a great mentor in my life. I also want to thank my parents, Fred and Sue Eaddy, for all of their support from City League and elementary school, AAU travel ball, all the way through college, and even during my coaching years. I even talked my dad into coaching with me for a few seasons. I can't recall a game that they missed before college, and even in college, they would drive 4.5 hours one way to see a ball game and drive back the same night, all while running our family business. I still don't know how they did it. When my college team would have an away trip, somebody would say that it stinks that we wouldn't have any fans, but at least we knew Fred would be there and that he would be the loudest one in the gym, which he always was. My father loved sports more than anyone I know and was quite the athlete back in the day. He was draining threes from the deep corner even before they had a three-point line. Throughout junior and high school, he secretly made an album for me loaded with pictures and any other newspaper clippings that even mentioned my name. I will cherish that for life. Thank you for the nomination, Dad. There are not enough words to express my love for you and appreciation for all you and Mom have done for me. I also want to thank my college coach, Tim Curry, who sent a letter of recommendation for me. And thanks to my brother, Brad, and sister, Michelle, and all of my other family for coming tonight. My brother was more of an athlete than I ever was, and my sister was a super smart cheerleader. They were in the same grade, and my dad still wishes he would have focused more on Michelle because she would have outworked both of us on the athletic fields. And of course, thanks to my good-looking and tall husband, David, for all your love and support. I was always worried I wasn't going to get a tall man, but there he is. But most of all, I am grateful to my Savior, Jesus Christ, most importantly for my salvation, but also for giving me the athletic ability so that I can enjoy so many years of playing ball and coaching. Thank you so much for this honor.
Will Teresa Myers-Irvin, Mayor of the City of Florence, please come to the stage. Our next inductee is Ashley Brooke Flowers Elliott. Making the transition from successful player to successful coach can be challenging, particularly when coaching at your alma mater. But the qualities and habits that Brooke Flowers demonstrated as a player, a competitive spirit, always seeking to improve, as well as diligence and determination, have allowed Brooke to make that successful transition. As a high school athlete, Brooke was an outstanding softball and basketball player, being named All-State twice in each sport and representing South Florence High School in both sports in the North-South All-Star Games. Following an incredible high school softball career where she was a key player on 3 state championship teams, Brooke accepted a scholarship to play college softball at the College of Charleston, where she was a 4-year team MVP, as well as being a 4-year all-conference selection. Returning to South Florence as assistant varsity softball coach, Brooke has helped the Lady Bruins continue their standard of excellence, being an assistant for 14 region championships, 3 lower state championships, and 2 state championships during her tenure. Ladies and gentlemen, 2022 Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, Ashley Brooke Flowers Elliott.
I'll go ahead and apologize. My speech is a little bit longer, but I have a lot of people to thank. What a great honor it is to be standing here today as a member of the Florence Athletic Hall of Fame. Being elected into any Hall of Fame is a great privilege, but your hometown Hall of Fame is truly special. First, I would like to thank the entire committee who elected me into this distinguished club. To fellow inductees, congratulations. To the City of Florence, thank you for having youth sports programs and facilities that was my childhood utopia. I thank God for gifting me with athletic ability and a family, coaches, teammates, and friends who have always loved and supported me. Friendship Park will always hold a special place in my heart because it is where it all began. It wasn't just a ball field, it was a home. The board members, umpires, coaches, parents, and other kids all helped me become the athlete I became and positively influenced my life. As I got older, South Florence High School became my home. We like to say, once a Bruin, always a Bruin, and that is true to this day. South Florence always had administration and staff that truly care for their student athletes. Coach Watts and then Coach Wilson after him always treated all sports equally. They set an example and standard for everyone. My high school athletic career began as a 7th grader with the softball program. This program taught me it was okay to strongly dislike losing and what competitiveness was all about. This is where I formed a burning desire to be the best. I went into an established program where everyone was competing to reach the ultimate goal of winning state championships. The upperclassmen set an example, and it just made my passion for the game stronger. I wanted to be a part of the missing piece from previous seasons, and I was determined to prove that I belong. This made me work harder and longer. I hope I was able to set the same example for younger athletes when I was the upperclassman. To my softball coaches, especially Coach Sprott, thank you for believing in me. Many people thought you were crazy for starting a 7th grader on a team that was competing for a state, but I think it worked out well for us. Thank you for showing me hard work does pay off, for pushing me to be the best version of myself and allowing me to be a small part of the Bruins softball tradition. Thank you for loving me when I played for you and still loving me today. The memories we made and the bond we share will last a lifetime. As a 9th grader, my varsity basketball career began at South Florence. The basketball program was an extremely successful program that quickly taught me humbleness, that all things wouldn't come easily. I began my career as a starting point guard who turned the ball over too much and never shot. However, Miss Coach Jones had faith in me and never wavered. I slowly improved. I began to get a better understanding of the game and her expectations of me. I've always heard that the point guard is an extension of the coach on the court, and I feel like I was that with you. To Miss Coach Jones and Mo, thank you for truly believing in my abilities even before I did, and truly teaching me the game of basketball. We shared many triumphs, some crushing defeats, and a whole lot of running, but I wouldn't change any of it. I carry a part of each of your coaching styles with me to this day. The saying is you can always go home, and Coach Bobby Jones allowed me to come home to South Florence in 2006. There aren't enough words to show how thankful and grateful I am of you. You coached against me, coached me, and now I have coached with you, and it has been an experience of a lifetime. It continues to be a great honor watching you carry on the South Florence softball tradition. It's refreshing to have found someone who loves the game of softball as much as I do. Your love for the game could never outweigh the love and commitment you have for your players. Many young girls became young women in your program because of you. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it all. I feel as if our coaching together was meant to be because we are always so in sync. We have shared many victories, but all the other things are what I cherish the most. The respect and admiration I have for you is beyond measurable, and you know you are my family, with or without softball. My time at College Charleston was challenging and rewarding. I'm thankful I was allowed to continue the sport I love for another 4 years. To my coaches and teammates, thank you for the friendships and memories. All these coaches set a gold standard that I hope one day I could follow in. I only hope I have made the same impact on the players I have coached. Lastly, to my family, what can I say? All the sweat, the hours, and money spent was well worth it. Not because of my induction into the Hall of Fame, but because it formed us into the family we are today. A family that stays together no matter what and are always there for each other. The support I had for you guys was there from day one and is still there as I coach today. I never had to wonder if I would have people in the stands. I always had an army there. Between parents, step-parents, grandparents, and siblings, you were there. I could never give a thank you speech without thanking my granny and granddaddy who never missed a game. They were both so devoted to me and were my biggest fans. After every game, they were there to give me a hug and words of encouragement. To them, I was the best player in the world, and I would imagine my granddaddy still talks about this in heaven today. To my sisters, thank you for allowing me to share my love of the game with you. Whether it was your support pulling for me, growing up on a ball field with you and being teammates, or being able to coach your kids, it truly was a great honor. It has been endearing to be able to share my passion for the game with you all. This has been an experience we have shared for 30-plus years. My journey has been all of your journeys as well. To my nieces, I know that I'm hard on you guys, but it's because I have high expectations for all of you. I just hope you find something in life that you are truly passionate about and love to do. To my mom, I have never doubted your belief, loyalty, or love for me. Thank you for always being there. I've always been able to count on you for support, and you made sure I had the things I needed. Everyone knew when you were in the stands because we could hear you fussing with referees, umpires, opposing coaches, and even Coach Jones a time or two. Your support for my ambitions and anything I've done in life means more to me than you will ever know. Thank you for loving me unconditionally. A lot of people have role models that they will never know. I was fortunate enough to have mine at home with my dad. Without you, none of these accomplishments would have ever happened. All the times I was sitting on the porch waiting for you to get home from work so we could put extra work in, you never once told me no matter how tired you were. The countless hours we have spent with the ball in our hands, whether it was a softball or basketball, playing half rubber, and hitting in the batting cages at Freedom Florence are forever embedded into my mind. You were my coach in my youth and taught me so much about sports, but more importantly, you were my daddy who taught me life lessons. I can never say thank you enough for loving me and setting the ultimate example of the person I wanted to be. And to Coleman, thank you for never questioning my loyalty to South Florence or my love for the game. You accepted the long hours I put into the softball program and have never once doubted why I do it. Thank you for loving my family unconditionally and making it our family. I hope you feel as much a part of us as we do you. In closing, I have no doubt sports was the biggest influence in my life. The lessons learned, memories made, and friendships formed have all had a hand in who I am and the way I live my life to this day. My only hope is that the next generation of kids are fortunate enough to have family, friends, youth programs, teammates, and coaches that have the same positive influence on their lives as I did growing up. Thank you.
Will Blake Pate of Chick-fil-A please come to the stage? Our next inductee is Marion Galloway. Representing Marion is his grandson, Billy G. Smith, Jr. Any study of the history of sports in America will clearly demonstrate that participation in athletics, the role of athletics in the community, as well as the sports that are most popular or have the greatest participation, can change over time. Our Golden Era inductee, Marion Galloway, is an example of someone whose accomplishments might have been overlooked in the athletic landscape as it has changed over time. There was a time when amateur boxing was wildly popular, with large numbers of both spectators and participants. It was during that era that Marion Galloway became a major figure in amateur boxing. At various points in his career in boxing, Marion served as Florence boxing team coach, director of the PD Golden Gloves tournament, as well as serving on various national and state boxing committees. Ladies and gentlemen, our 2022 Florence Athletic Hall of Fame Golden Era inductee, Marion Galloway, represented by Billy G. Smith, Jr.
Thank everybody for being here. Unfortunately, my grandfather passed away in 2018, and I just wanted to speak to the man he was. My grandfather was a fighter to the bitter end, and I'm not good at this, I apologize. But I just want to talk about some of the lessons he taught me. Was resilience, always getting up when you're knocked down. Integrity, say what you mean what you say. Personal courage, take on the things you can't change. And always be ambitious. See everything through the end. I'm sure he taught these things to his fighters too. And I just wanted to recognize one of his fighters that are here tonight, Mr. Weldon Benton. I get to learn more and more about his legacy as a boxing coach the more I talk to Mr. Benton. And I'm sure he's grinning, looking down on us now. But he was a good grandfather, a father, a businessman later in life, and I hope he served as a great athletic ambassador for the Florence County and the state of South Carolina. Thank you.
Will Lindsay Timmons, representing sponsor Lawrence Timmons, please come to the stage. Our next inductee is Frankey Joe McCullum. Man among boys. That is a phrase you sometimes hear in reference to an athlete that is simply physically superior to his competition. Having coached against Frankey in basketball, I can attest the phrase was never more accurate than when he was on the basketball court. But there was much more to Frankey McCullum. Beyond being an imposing physical athlete, he was extremely coachable and had an incredible work ethic. He was not someone who simply relied on where he was athletically. He always tried to improve. That combination allowed Frankey to be all-state in both football and basketball in high school, where he represented South Florence High School in the North-South All-Star Game in both sports. For his collegiate athletic career, Frankey chose football, accepting a scholarship to the University of South Carolina to play for Coach Lou Holtz. As a Gamecock, Frankey was a member of 2 Outback Bowl championship teams. He concluded his collegiate football career as a graduate student at South Carolina State University, where he was selected to the all-conference team. Ladies and gentlemen, 2022 Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, Frankey McCullum.
How y'all doing tonight? First off, I want to give honor to God just for allowing me to have a career, the health and strength to be here tonight, to enjoy you guys for coming out and supporting us. To all the inductees, you know, it's a wonderful thing. Just to share a little bit about me, when I was little, I wasn't even supposed to play football. I had a real bad injury, a head injury, and about 7, 8 years old, I guess my parents decided that they thought I was fine enough, good enough to play. And that's why when I played football, I try not to leave anything on the table because one, I wasn't even supposed to be out there with all my sports. But through it all, they trusted in God that I would be okay. Of course, I didn't know any better, so I figured I would be okay. And it all worked out. So I just want to give honor to him first because he's the head of my life and my family's life. And without him, like I said, I wouldn't be here today. Just a little bit about my career. I was fortunate enough to be around a bunch of coaches. A lot of them are here. One of my favorites is getting inducted tonight just as well as me, so that's kind of weird, but I'm enjoying it. But all my coaches, I was just fortunate enough to be around a bunch of good people. I loved them all. The start of my career started with Coach Gandy, Scott Gandy. I don't know if y'all remember him. And I was telling my family tonight about a funny story when I first started playing. And I learned a lot from it. My dad took me to practice. I was surprised that he took me because I should have been working or doing something else, but he took me to practice. Made the City League team. So the first game we played, I think we played WYNN, which was the Wilson side of players. And I played every position possible on the field that day, trying to win. Didn't bother me none, but it kind of ticked my dad off. I'll never forget it because we probably was losing 50-0. And the cheerleaders were cheering at the end of the game. And they were like, no sweat, the game ain't over yet. And like 2 seconds later, the buzzer went off. So it wasn't a good day for us. But nevertheless, my dad went and chewed Coach Gandy out. So he chewed him out. They got into it because he was mad that I played so many positions that day. We still didn't win. So there was a lot of mixed feelings going on. So I took it upon myself. The next week, I said, well, I guess I'm not on the team anymore. I'm not going to practice. My dad came home. I got chewed out. And he chewed me out because he told me I shouldn't have quit. But I didn't know what was going on that afternoon, so I decided I was going to quit. But just from that day on, he taught me you never quit. You never give up, no matter how. He didn't care about the winning and losing. I guess he was just more concerned about me getting hurt. But I took it as he wanted me to quit. And from that day on, he never would let me quit anything I started. It didn't matter the score. It didn't matter about the fans. That had nothing to do with it. It's just that when you start something and you give up obligation to do something, you never quit until it's done. And I teach my kids that to this day because I think that's one of the main things that kept me on the field and kept me going as long as I did. Like I say, I have no complaints about my career. I felt like I was around the best coaches I could have. A lot of you know them, dealing with Coach Watts, Coach Warner, I could name them. We just had a ball, we all did. And still to this day, we still have fun. Coach Wade just came to my shop. He's doing business with me. And it's just like a fellowship throughout all of life. Yeah, sometimes you fall short of your goals, and I didn't make some of the things that I wanted to do, but all in all, I had a fun career. I'm proud to be here tonight, and I just want to thank everybody for just coming out and letting me be a part of it and enjoying it with me. Here I have my family, my beautiful wife. She's the smallest thing in the house now because the kids are grown up. I got my son Jordan, my daughter Jackson, my sister in the green. That's my ride or die. We went to the Outback Bowl. I knew she knew I was gonna call her. She was the first one I called. I know you coming. and it wasn't a no. You know what I'm saying? She knew what she had to do. And still to this day, we're the same people. My other sister, Leslie, we just stick together. We lost both our parents. It was rough on us in that process, but it drew us closer together. But we never stopped loving each other and stopped doing what we're supposed to do for each other. And that's what's wrong with the world today. You know, lose sight of things and just get beside the real ultimate goal. And I'm just glad we're together. All of us came through South Florence, pretty much my whole family. And I feel like I'm not the only one up here accepting this award. My whole family is, because, of course, some of them laid footsteps down for me that I didn't even know what they were doing at the time. So I'm just appreciative for them. Like I say, my whole community. Did I think I would be up here tonight accepting this award? No. Because I'm just the type of person I feel that I'm supposed to do what I'm supposed to do for my community, for my family, and that's just it. But sometimes people watch you and see what you're doing outside of what you think. So I just appreciate the award, first of all. In closing, like I say, I just had a wonderful career. I had fun. And that's what it was all about. Never gave up, but I tell my kids all the time, whatever you do, have fun. Because if it's not fun, you're not going to enjoy it. And you're really wasting other people's time if you're not having fun with it. I really enjoyed it. Basketball, I knew I wasn't going anywhere as far as college or anything with basketball, because I didn't think I was tall enough. But I enjoyed playing because I enjoyed Coach Warner. I enjoyed my teammates. I enjoyed the game. Football, I was just strong as an ox country, so I felt like I was going to make it in there. I was just a big dude. You know, when I was younger, I didn't think I was that big, but 7th, 8th grade, Scott Gannon grabbed me and said, "Man, you're a big dude." And I was kind of like, "Get off me, man, I'm not that big." He's like, "No, you're a big dude." And he's like, "I'm the coach for City League, I want you to come out." And we just had a wonderful relationship from then, and it just grew. He kept introducing me to other coaches, and we all had a good time. Like I said, I still enjoy them to this day. Glad that they're a part of my life. Coach Watt's always been my buddy. Mr. Wilson, we ran into it, laughed about basketball, just had a good time. And do I regret anything in my career? No. Do I thank y'all for having me here tonight? I surely do. I really appreciate it for me and my family, my community, and especially for South Florence, because South Florence did a lot for me and my family. Like I say, pretty much all of my family went through South Florence. All of us still live in Florence, other than just a handful of us. So we try to serve our community. I feel like all of us did a good job as we came through. And like I said, I hope my kids do the same. And I just want to thank y'all tonight for coming out, you know, taking time out of you guys' lives to just come and help us as the inductees receive our awards. Thank you.
Will Porter Stewart, Chair of Florence School District 1, please come to the stage. Our final inductee this evening is James D. Jimmy Weatherford. The ability to sustain consistency and excellence over time is what separates some coaches from others. And this is certainly what has separated Jimmy from many other baseball coaches and athletic directors. Jimmy was a highly successful baseball coach at South Florence and Chesterfield High Schools, as well as a successful athletic director at Chesterfield High School. His baseball teams enjoyed incredible success, some receiving national rankings, winning numerous region titles, lower and upper state titles, and a state championship at Chesterfield High. Jimmy had 9 players drafted in the Major League Baseball draft and another 40 to receive college scholarships. In 2020, Jimmy was inducted to the South Carolina Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. As athletic director at Chesterfield High School, Jimmy was twice named Class A Athletic Director of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, 2022 Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, Jimmy Weatherford.
wife told me to make sure I put this mic down. And after Frankey speaking, I had to move it a good bit ways down. It's been a pretty good night. We get 3 South Florence Bruins inducted, and we had a Gamecock speak to us. So, sorry to you Clemson guys out there, but you know, we had to do what we had to do to put the best up here. It's been a pretty good night. And I'm kind of used to something this height because I'm pretty sure I probably made a few mound visits in my lifetime where mounds were about this high. We were accused a few times at South Florence for having it this high, but you had that good curveball pitcher, so you had to do what you had to do. I'd first like to thank all the sponsors that's involved with the Hall of Fame here. And naturally, none of this would be feasible without you, so we thank you for that. And also the committee. From the first time that I received the letter stating that I would be inducted, it's been nothing but first class in the relationship and the conversations between them, dealing with the press conference back before the year was up and all, and introduction. And so I'm appreciative to y'all for that. This is a great event in my life and my family's life, and y'all really do it the right way. So thank you for that. I'd also like to thank all the fellow inductees. Great honor to go in with all of y'all, the 6 of us. Some of you I know, some of you I don't. I don't know 3 of you in particular, but I do know about your careers because I'm a sports guy, so I followed it. So even the Clemson guy that's a golfer and Florence Christian, I remember y'all playing, and I remember following you in sports, but also with Frankey and Brooke, what a special honor it is to go in with you. I didn't coach. The reason I might be Frankey's favorite coach is I didn't actually coach his position. So I was probably one of his favorite coaches, but I do remember Frankey playing for us in football when I was at South Florence, Brooke playing basketball and softball, and it's just really an honor to go in with y'all too, so congratulations to both of you. I remember back in 1965 when I was in the 1st grade, they came to our school and trying to get a Dixie Youth team started. Back then, you didn't have all the age levels. And some of you older guys like me know we just had a Dixie Youth team. You didn't have the 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12 like you have today. So I may be one of the few people here that played Dixie Youth baseball for 6 years. But anyway, they came to us in the 1st grade and to our school trying to see who wanted to play baseball. Lake City only had 3 teams, and they needed a 4th. And so they came to the school, saw the interest. I got home that day, and my dad was asking me about it, and I told him that we were going to get a team together. And he said, great, who's going to coach? And I said, well, you are. I told him that you would do it. And he said, well, I don't know anything about baseball. I said, you don't have to worry about that. We know how to play, so you don't need to worry about it. That kind of started my career in baseball. Little did I know at that time that would be my life. And even though I was an athletic director later on, baseball was it, because to me that was the only sport that really mattered. Started off in Chesterfield. Everything didn't always start rosy. Everybody thinks about your career and you're getting honors, but it didn't. My first year, I put ryegrass in that outfield. They had never seen ryegrass in Chesterfield. That outfield was just as green as it could be. We had a dirt infield. We had a custodian that was an old farmer that cut grass for us, and I walked by him one day and I said, if you get a chance, how about cut my outfield for me? He said, no problem, Coach. I go by about lunchtime and look out, and I don't see that bright green color out there. Folks, never tell a farmer to cut your field. Cutting means to plow it and disc it to a farmer, not mow it. I was the only team that year in the state of South Carolina that played on an all-dirt field. Our season started 1 week later. We rolled it flat, and we played on it. That's what we played, but we had no grass that year. But, you know, I did get a chance to start coaching baseball after my 3rd year at Chesterfield. Coached there for 4 years, and we were just starting to get the program going when the opportunity came to come to South Florence High School. I remember sitting in Coach Watts' office, and back then, Frank, you remember, it was upstairs where the weight room is now, I think, but I remember sitting in there and talking with him, and got a call from him a few days later after talking to Dr. Boswell, and I just have to pay a special tribute to Mike and to Kurt Boswell for giving me the opportunity to come to South Florence and coach baseball. Teach in football also, but baseball. They had, I think, been down a little bit to start with, and we went in with a lot of things, a lot of improvements to the facilities. I can't thank the players, the parents that really got together and bought into what we were doing. But they were two very special administrators that really supported me. And I had read long ago that if you want to be successful, you need to surround yourself with good people, that if you're going to have success. And I felt like I did that there with them and the support that they gave me. And then with the players that we had and what we wanted to instill, they bought into it, the parents bought into it, and it became a success. Now, it was not always easy there, because my first year there was another tribute. We had Hurricane Hugo came in and laid down all the lights on our field. And then we had a snowstorm that came in, and I came up and found a Volkswagen parked on top of my mound that year also. So, you know, it's not always rosy when I was at South either. Some things really happened, but it was a success. And then some people asked me, why would you want to leave South Florence and go back to Chesterfield? It was a chance to now run an entire athletic program. And I wanted to see if I could do that, you know, as a coach. And also I still had the opportunity to coach baseball. And a guy there named Scott Rackin, who was a very good friend of mine, was an administration principal there, really fought and got the opportunity for me to do that, and was very instrumental in helping me be able to promote that program by giving me a lot of leeway in what we needed to do to be successful with hiring coaches, facilities, and things like that. I was always a big believer that if you did things the right way, treated people the right way, that good things would happen, and it did that. There are some people that I really need to thank here tonight. First was my parents. I mentioned my dad coached our team, and he did for years. But my mom and dad sacrificed a lot just to give me the opportunity to play sports, my brother and me, to go to college. It wasn't as easy back then, you know, for parents to do that. They got us in college and then supported us throughout our time while we were coaching, even when we started. So I have to thank them. I'd have to thank, I got two sons here, both my sons are here tonight. They both played for me. I think they'll tell you it wasn't very easy to play for me. But anytime you have to play for your dad, it makes it difficult. But, you know, they always did a great job. And I think the thing about both of those, Wesley and Ty, was this, is that they were not so much players as they're almost like coaches on the field. They really brought the team together, and I was so proud of what they did. I'd have to thank the Lord Jesus Christ for giving me the ability and the opportunity in order to coach and be around so many young people, and hopefully have been a part of their life in an important way. And I saved the best for last, because it wouldn't even been possible if it hadn't been for my wife, Kathy. And she would kill me if I said point her out over there, so I won't do that. But I know that when our youngest one was born, Ty was born the night of a spring break tournament at South Florence. Almost didn't make it to the hospital because Bob Clankinet wouldn't quit talking to me that night. But we finally got to the hospital, and Ty was born on that Thursday morning. Wesley and me was trying to keep Kathy calm, and he was born that Thursday morning. And that Tuesday night, when we came back to spring break, we played West Florence, and her and Ty and Wesley was in the car out in right field watching the game. So he was only about 4 days old, but she's just always been there, not only as a support, but as a listener to me, coming home from games, dealing with different situations, making chili for the concession stand, working the concession stand. So when I win this award tonight, it might be my picture or my name, but this is really an award for both of us, because I would not be here tonight if it was not for her. So again, I thank all the inductees. I congratulate you. I thank the committee and the sponsors for this great honor. It will truly be with us for the rest of our life. Thank you.
Derek Urquhart has our closing comments.
Coach, this is look. I gotta lower this too. Hey, Coach, Ty, we won that game against West Florence, by the way. So, still remember that. Yep. Congratulations to all of our Hall of Fame members. This is an honor well overdue, and you will be outstanding leaders for our future inductees to follow. As I call your name, please rise and remain standing for one final round of applause. And when we're finished with that, please, if you will go ahead, the 6 inductees, make your way to the photo area, and we'll start taking some group photos with you guys. So at this point, Stephen Behr, Jennifer Raye Eaddy, Brooke Flowers Elliott, Marion Galloway, Frankey McCullum, and Coach Jimmy Weatherford. One more round of applause. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. If you six would make your way to the back to the photo area, and while they're doing that, we want to thank our MC Bob Wilson for joining us again this year. Our guest speaker Patrick DiMarco, Porter Stewart, all of our presenters, and our Citation Award winner Larry Rizzo. We would like to invite any of you to visit the Hall of Fame here, as well as our website, www.florenceathletichalloffame.com. The plaques and memorabilia will be displayed just above here on the second floor of the concourse for all the Florence Center patrons and area visitors to enjoy. Anyone who has old films, sports cards, equipment that may be appropriate are welcome to submit it to one of the board members for consideration in our displays upstairs. We also need your input on future selections to the Hall of Fame. On your tables are two very important forms. One is the 2023 nomination form. The other is a breakdown of the sponsorship opportunities for those wishing to contribute to the future success of the Hall. Additional copies will be at the exit doors as well as you leave. Please take as many as you like, distribute them to family members, sports enthusiasts, anybody in the community who you think would be interested. This year's nomination, or for next year, the deadline will be July 31st, 2022. We're already excited about next year's group of class. Several nomination forms have already been submitted, and we look forward as a committee to diving into those and joining with everybody again at this time next year. Again, congratulations to our inductees. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next year.